all-purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canoopia. Shiklisho Limited. Quality you can trust.
Viva Original.
Viva Original is back. The taste you love and remember in strawberry and lime flavors. Viva naturally flavored sparkling water.
Viva Original is back. Viva.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Southern Main Road, Canoopia.
Can be viewed on the go now with the Airlink TV app for Google devices. Simply go to the Google Play Store, search for the Airlink TV app, download the app, click on the link and fill out the form. The account activation will be emailed or texted to the user. It's safe as no credit card is needed. The first 30 days are free and you can subscribe and receive a box for your TV to stream the same content.
At Extra Foods, we care for you. That's why we always have the widest variety, the best prices, spacious aisles of total convenience, plus clean, safe surroundings. Let us care for you. Extra Foods, always extra for less.
Welcome to the home of Pure Oxygen Spring Water. A breathtaking 1,000 feet above sea level, where the elements collide. In an area of outstanding natural beauty. This land, our land, embodies nature, and our methods respect it. We use clean energy, solar, hydro, wind, to bring you the cleanest water. Every drop, sustainably sourced from pristine Cornish farmland. From the raw beauty of rainfall to our state-of-the-art bottling facility, situated on an ancient underground lake. We're reminded of the timeless power of pure water. But it doesn't stop here. The secret of cure lies in the pure oxygen we so carefully infuse. To breathe life into every bottle of pure water, without chemicals or additives. Cure pushes the boundaries of what water can do, uniting life's most essential ingredients: water and oxygen. The next generation of hydration. Pure Oxygen, nature's ultimate water.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening and welcome to Breaking Barriers here on IBN Channel 8. Of course, it's a Wednesday evening and a very rainy day today. You know, it's strange that I did not hear that much places flooded today. In fact, you know, normally in Trinidad, when you have a little bit of rain, everything in Trinidad is flood, right? Even places that don't normally flood. It's just a matter of time before you hear that one of the mountains actually flooded over. This is how sour this place is getting right now. I never thought that I would have said it, but this country is feeling so sour right now. It is as if raindrops are falling. It's like lemon juice falling on this country. And yesterday alone, that incident in Port of Spain, well, we'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. Tonight, I have to move at a little speed because our guest tonight is a man that is pressed for time. Not only that, his time is very, very important to him right now because what happens is that he has a young lady waiting home for him. And also, you know, she's cantankerous just like me. All right, so Nicole, let me just say good evening to you one time. All right, so guys, let's rock and roll with the first one or two slides and let's move on. I would like to wish this beautiful lady next to me, Mrs. Ishmael, happy anniversary. 24 years. You know, I have had 24 years with this woman, and if I had to marry her again, I will do it. But this time, I hope it's a little cheaper. All right, so to Mrs. Ishmael, all the best to you. May God bless you on our 24th. Looking forward to 24 and 24 and 24 more. And of course, you know, 3 great kids that you know about, right? So it's, yeah, I'll leave that right, yes. yeah. You know, joke I'm making, right? Right, I live not too far away from here, so if anything comes through the wall, we will know why. All right, so let's move on to this slide, guys. Let's see what we're dealing with. Cops to patrol highways at night to deter speedsters. Well, this is the height of stupidity, and I expect nothing different because my stay is involved, right? Imagine that actually make news. The police actually have to go and patrol the highways to stop speeding. Isn't it fact that that is why you have a highway division? The highway division uses their vehicles for what? For the marine unit? Explain that to me. What is the purpose of highway division? And isn't it fact, and I stand corrected here, but isn't it fact that officers are supposed to make patrols on the highway back and forth for people in distress or for other issues as well? So looking at that, I could understand a dotage headline because the man who is actually heading that division, I have had so much confrontations with that man, from that man trying to arrest me. So therefore, I don't expect anything coming sensible from him, right? And that is, of course, the man himself who tell me, don't call him again. Good evening, my star. How are you going? Right, so let's go again, guys. DCP warns gun licenses could be revoked as team probes TTPS firearms unit. All you had to be joke dotish, but here what happening? I'm leaving that for later. Because you know what? That is the height of stupidity. What is interesting is that all of a sudden, racket only exists in this country 3 years, you know, and they can't find none, you know. But racket existed all of a sudden. 10 years ago, there was no racket. Everybody was playing football. 20 years ago, there was none. Nobody investigated nothing because you know why? You weren't in a wild goose chase. There was nothing to look for because everybody bread was being buttered. You understand? Everybody was getting a little kakada. So therefore, you know what happening? They had nothing to investigate. Now, all of a sudden, wild goose chase because they're after a certain gentleman. And of course, the gentleman in studio tonight. So we will deal with this and other matters. Let's go again, guys. PM tells Coast Guard go after gun human trafficking trade. Well, this man have to be a real gada. You have to tell the Coast Guard that. The Coast Guard, what? They dotish, they illiterate, they stupid. They don't understand that the reason why we get the those OPVs and them is basically to go after exactly what you told them. And let me ask another question. How come those things arrived since July and we now putting them into service? What they had to do? They had to service the carburetor turning out. They had a leak. What is the problem? Imagine something as serious as illegal immigrants coming in this country. Something as serious as gun runners from Venezuela back and forth. Because Trinidad is the only country you have Coast Guard looking out to make sure it's safe for bandits to come in. So was it to facilitate some big shipment that was coming in recently? I'm asking questions. Because from July to now, it makes no sense to me. Let's go again. You know what is, you know why, when I say that this country have mad people, these are the articles that is make me think so. Imagine, just imagine, zoom in there to the bottom of that article for me, guys. Inmates threatened to kill 13 before Christmas. How, come back to me, how the hell all you know is 13? Santa Claus call all you and tell all you, hey, they plan to kill 13? All you know that they plan to kill 13, but all you don't know who put in down the work. Not only that, you see, in that maximum security prison, we are supposed to be using something called a cell blocker. And if you research, you will see we paid big money for this. That is supposed to stop phone calls from going out. But in the jails, we just facilitate birthday parties. It is our rum flowing like water and cigarettes flowing like water. And of course, if the prisoners do not get their way, man, farmer leaders be the targets. And this is what is happening now. So we know that 13, we know that there are 13 prisons officers who are being targeted. The question is, how we know it's 13? Who take the call? Could we take a view of that video, please?
13 of prison officers will be killed before Christmas if they are not moved out of building 13. That is the message that is coming from behind the walls at building 13. Or one prison officer a week, that was the last information before that. So that is the kind of persons we're dealing with behind bars. They have that ability to control a system,
Hear it? Prisons are
kill a prison officer.
Here what's happening. If they don't move certain people from there, they're going to kill them. And if they move those people, what are they going to do? Facilitate them. Are they going to facilitate them by putting in officers who would comply with certain things? That is the question to be asked tonight. Let's go again, guys. You see this? I'm leaving this for later. I'm leaving this for later because that actually, here what's happening now. In fact, I'm going to leave everything else for later. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take a short break because we have so much to discuss. And I plan to keep my guests here until about maybe 1 a.m. because there's no curfew, right? So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, former Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith will be joining me in the studio. We'll be back.
At Extra Foods, we care for you. That's why we always have the widest varieties, the best prices, spacious aisles of total convenience, plus clean, safe surroundings. Let us care for you. Extra Foods, always extra for less.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors, and roti makers. Try our high-quality bromate-free, all-purpose, and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg, and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
IBN can be viewed on the go now with the Airlink TV app for Google devices. Simply go to the Google Play Store, search for the Airlink TV app. Download the app, click on the link and fill out the form. The account activation will be emailed or texted to the user. It's safe as no credit card is needed. The first 30 days are free and you can subscribe and receive a box for your TV to stream the same content.
The results of increased oxygenation are spectacular. From improved cognitive function, skin rejuvenation, and better sleep, to increased energy, performance, and overall health, the Cure team has spent years inventing and perfecting this formula. So you can experience the amazing benefits of extra oxygen in a refreshing, ultra-smooth bottle of water. Welcome to Cure.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems, and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
And welcome back, my friends. Of course, you're watching Breaking Barriers right here on IBN Channel 8. Of course, this is a slightly different version, and that is the first time in years I have had a guest on this program. But because of the issues that we are facing right now, we really have no choice. And of course, it's indeed a pleasure to have a good friend of mine. I've known him for years now. Captain Gary Griffith, former Commissioner of Police, in studio with me. Pleasure to have you here, sir.
Always a pleasure to be here. How are you going?
What? Normally I just get a different comment, but feeling good now.
I like your haircut.
There we go. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's start it rolling. But first, I want to ask you something. And as I said before, we want to get into the meat of the matter here. You have been Commissioner of Police for 3 years. There have been many ups and downs. What would you consider to have been your greatest hurdle for those 3 years?
Finance. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. It was unfortunate where through the Ministry of Finance, and in fact, you will know. You should know as well. I know. Look who I'm speaking to.
I know only too well.
It was unbelievable that we had a government that did not understand the importance to finance the police service how they're supposed to. After the first 6 months of my first year, the Minister of Finance came out and said, Gary Griffith doesn't know what he's speaking about. Look, I have 800 million we gave to him. And you had a Minister of Finance who did not know the difference between salaries and goods and services. You could not use goods and services. You couldn't use the salaries from to pay for goods and services. So what we had, we were stifled constantly. The first 6 months of every fiscal year, we would probably not get a cent. And I would spend half of my day making sure that they wouldn't pull the plug on IT, on fuel, maintenance of vehicles, equipment, uniforms, supplies, electricity. And it was very unfortunate. It reached the point where the third year, it actually reached $300 million reduction. Now, this is an era around the world where police services, based on maintenance of vehicles, fuel, overtime, the expense would increase. The police service was at the forefront dealing with COVID pandemic, and you reduced it by $300 million. And then even the little that we had, we would not get in. So it was very difficult for me to move forward with the technology, the systems to cause the transformation of the police service because of the Ministry of Finance failing to do what was required.
Do you believe it was intentional?
I do not know. I honestly don't know. But I constantly would speak to them, bring it to their attention, and every single year was the same khaki pants. It really was an issue. And I mean, even from a government perspective, we speak about thousands of suppliers, and these thousands of suppliers will have employees, and some of these employees, that's all they had to get to take care of their family, and many of them went on the breadline. It shut down a lot of businesses, and it was unfortunate. It seemed to be either incompetence or ignorance to understand your role and function.
I mean, my company, we were into the service of TTPS vehicles since 2013, and I say this quite clearly that within the last 3 years, what we found is that it became ridiculous. On our side, it appeared that someone was intentionally holding back funds. It also appeared that things just did not make sense. For example, let us go back into the archives a little bit. I'm sure you would remember when the police service was supposed to invest millions of dollars in vehicles. I remember you calling me from a meeting, and you asked me, remind me what you said about those vehicles again, please.
That was
in Port of Spain. You had a meeting with your hierarchy, and you were discussing the purchasing, and you called me and you said you wanted me to remind you about my concerns about the vehicles that they were planning to purchase.
Yeah, no, and again, so I wouldn't want to regurgitate it, but that exactly was the issue. I tried having meetings with the Ministry of Finance, bringing it to their attention, showing the type of, and they will basically try to direct, and there was a degree of arrogance me trying to explain to them, this is the front line to deal with making sure that COVID pandemic can be controlled. And it seemed to fall on deaf ears, in short. I mean, it was really unfortunate. And when we started seeing vehicles going down, it reached a point when I realized ignorance. So when we were in the opening of the Carenage police station, and our prime minister says, I don't know why it is the police need SUVs. When I heard that, I realized the man did not have a clue about national security, because they were looking at the fact that why just can't use a sedan. But the average person will use a regular car, drive about 20 miles a day. A police vehicle will be used 24, that vehicle could be used 24 hours a day, right? So it's thousands of miles. So whereas 100,000 kilometers, you will probably use a regular car in about 10 years or so. That could be used within a year for a police vehicle, which is why in most countries, after 4 years, you totally, you do a turnover. So that every year you purchase 25% of the vehicles, because after the fourth year, that vehicle will probably be hitting 300,000 miles. And the cost-benefit analysis to keep maintaining a vehicle like that, it would make no sense. We did not get one vehicle purchase year before, in my second year, not one new vehicle purchase, when the police service had about, 1,700 vehicles. So we were supposed to be purchasing 400 per annum. We did not get one. We did a request for 60, and he wanted to go get justification. And then he was saying, why bother to get SUV? He feels that every SUV is a Prado. But we are speaking about vehicles that have to go up into terrain, rough roads, and then you want the sedans to be used. And then when the sedans break down, then you're trying to attack the police service. I'm not saying that the police service, that everything that they did was perfect, but we put checks and balances for preventative maintenance of vehicles to deal with that situation. But you're talking about 1,700 vehicles. You didn't give us one vehicle purchase in the second year. And in my third year, you're questioning whether we should get 60.
When did you start to feel a level of discomfort with the Prime Minister? When did that start?
Well, constantly, I realized the Prime Minister was not aware. He was very green in understanding his role and function as the chair of the National Security Council, because he kept getting involved in things that it was outside of his authority. Somebody, that person probably was too young. He was too young at heart to understand the concept of what a prime minister has to do in national security, or the prime minister, or another minister was lacking hindsight. And these individuals continued to give the prime minister wrong advice, because he felt that as the chair of the National Security Council, I can intervene, I can interfere, I can direct. And when it is you go on a platform to say that I am going to appoint persons from foreign to investigate DSS, I am going to appoint someone to investigate firearms who was a special branch officer, and his job was to collect suitcases when persons arrive at New York City Airport for 6 years. I am going to appoint Stanley John and PSC, you say that you appoint him, but then after Stanley John sends the report to the National Security Council, I, as the Prime Minister, am telling you that that you will ensure that you can arrest persons in their home, in private property. When he kept interfering, and with that, as a Commissioner of Police, I was forced to put him in his place, because that incident last year with Bayside, he was basically trying to allude to inform police officers to break the law, because there was a public health regulation, and the police did not have the authority to arrest citizens in their home. It was their private property. So that Bayside situation, when it is, I clarified, and unfortunately, you have an Attorney General and a Security Minister who are both attorneys. They did not brief him for him to understand. For the police to go into homes, you must have a state of emergency similar to 2011. Now remember, in 2011, police officers, based on wrongfully guided by the government, went and we had hundreds of persons wrongfully arrested. I have no intention as Commissioner of Police to see the history repeat itself. I was not going to infringe on the constitutional rights of citizens. And if it is that you have your private home, if I did not say that, many junior police officers, being naive, would have believed that the Prime Minister was correct. Inchon Ishmael would have had a Father's Day lime, and they count 6 people, bam, they took your wicket. And we would have had hundreds of millions of dollars in legal damages that the taxpayers would have to pay. So by me doing that, he took offense to it, but that is your problem. And people say, Gary, you have to understand, you must have some respect. I said worse things about Kamala Prasad-Bissessar when they did not want to approve the bail amendment bill and so other things. So what you're trying to tell me, that as a Commissioner of Police, you can criticize the opposition leader, but not the Prime Minister? Over 20 police chiefs in the United States attacked President Trump when they had all the divisions, and they told him, shut up, you need to go But this is a banana republic where I'm a PNM supporter. You must speak well about my prime minister. It does not work that way. I was an independent commissioner of police, and I was not going to have anyone direct me wrongfully.
Let us look at the hierarchy. Would you say that there were people who were attempting from the inside to have you removed and to have you replaced?
In general, from day one. The good thing is the British government, they did a poll, and I think it was 93% of the second division officers, they were in support of me. Numbers went to about 65, 70% in the first division. And obviously, you'll have older police officers. You know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. When I was pushing things for technology, IT, measuring performance, making police officers accountable. By doing that, you would have seen that on Arapita Avenue during the public health regulation under Gary Griffith, not a dog barked. The place was quiet. Since I left, everything has gone haywire. And with that now, you're seeing the spike because there are no systems to have police patrol, have a deterrent, have a rapid response. Everything has gone haywire. And that's why crime also has been going up. So police officers had issues with, listen, this is a non-police officer. How the heck he could come and take over? But the fact of the matter is that there were assessments. There were 8 assessments, mock media conference, interviews, psychometric tests, essays, operational reports. I defeated every single police officer in every single assessment. That's why I topped it in 2018. 2021, I topped it again. So certain police officers had an issue with it. What they did not understand, and when you hear stupid people say, well, how could he be commissioner of police? He's not a police officer. Guess who's the commissioner of police in Jamaica? A previous army colonel. And because we are backward, many of us have never gone further than Tobago or Reed, so they don't know better. In NYPD, the commissioner of police must not be a serving police officer. So, and there's probably a reason for that. So in my situation, officers were a little, but what I did, the way I operated, being on the ground, showing leadership by example, being prepared not to have my officers do anything that I will not do myself, I was able to build that trust and confidence by the vast majority. However, the few who did not like it were those who, when there was over $140 million extra in overtime from police officers stating that they were working 24 hours a day, 30 days a month. So instead of getting 10,000 a month, they were getting 60 or 70. And the same inspectors and sergeants or whoever, certain, they were signing it off, getting the obviously to approve that. Then we had the DSS racket. Then we had the situation with police officers involved in firearm exploitation by extortion at stations and not sending it forward. Police officers using marked vehicles to escort gang members. When I put a stop to these things or pushed it back, it affected their business. So they wanted Gary out at all costs. What has been brought to my attention is some of them were able to whisper to government officials, they whisper the right things they want to hear, they whisper to the Prime Minister, and that was caused the problem. So you have the few rogue elements in the police service, those Trojan horses who had the police service backward to how it was years ago. They have now taken back over control of the police service.
Well, one of the things that I remember that you did is bring back some level of accountability. And there were officers who would go out with a vehicle, get involved in an accident, come back and park the vehicle, and no one was held accountable. Yep. I remember very clearly that there was a database set up whereby these officers, you get the names of the officers, what was the cause of the accident, who is culpable, and those were things that we never saw before. And this is why we had literally 1,000 vehicles parked up in the graveyards. Many of them could have been repaired. And that was just one area where I think you made a vast difference. What would you consider to be your biggest accomplishment?
All right, but before that, I just want to go back again with those vehicles. When we had an Operation Command Center, a Commissioner's Command Center, we had GPS tracking on all these vehicles. So it's the first time we started monitoring the speed of the vehicles as well, because police vehicles were just crashing one after the other. Not a cent was being paid back by the police officers. And there was right here in Chaguanas, 2 brand new vehicles. They were racing to get back, wrote off each vehicle. And I started putting systems, and some officers were offended, but it put an end to it. Even not recently, why were police vehicles escort when somebody is killed and they're trying to escort the vehicle down back to the mortuary or wherever? They'll be racing. What are you going to do? You're trying to race to get to the location to bring the person back to life? I put a stop to it. lo and behold, it has all started again, and you're putting the lives of people at risk. So there's a lot that we did to prevent those things from taking place. As it comes to accomplishment, people will automatically say, well, maybe it is that last year was the highest reduction in every violent crime in 25 years in this country. It was over 150 less murders last year than the year before. The first 6 months of this year, there were 50 less murders than the same period last year, which meant that we had 390 odd murders last year. We had less than 150 in the first 6 months, which meant that this year, had we continued based on the policies that we were pushing, it would have been the first time in 17 years we would have been into 200s in murders for the year. After I left, it has gone to 80 plus than the same 3 months. So people will probably measure it based on that. I won't. They will say, well, that was probably my greatest accomplishment. No, it was public trust and confidence that the public brought back into the police service. When I took over, Stephen Williams totally dropped the ball. 14% public trust and confidence. It was the lowest in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. People did not trust the police, which meant that for every 10 persons you spoke to, do you trust the police service? Only one said yes. After 3 years, it moved to 44%. And few countries in the world, for every 2 persons, you'll have 1 person say, yes, I trust the police. So building public trust and confidence in the police service by putting systems to measure their performance, make them accountable, train them in customer service training. People started feeling comfortable when they saw police officers. The I Support Our Service that Nicole was able to establish. You're speaking about 173 business places being prepared to help paint, repair a vehicle, see about providing computers. And we had people with the nasty audacity to try to question and discredit business sector trying to help a police station to protect them. That's how nasty and disgusting some people are in this country.
I remember, and you had met the gentleman, of course I don't want to say who it is, but a gentleman contacted me and he said, Ishmael, as you do repairs for the TTPS, we want to give back. And we want to do $500,000 in repairs.
Yes.
And he said, but we wanted to go through your facility because we could trust you. And of course, the gentleman met you. And the only reason he did that was because of you.
Yep.
He said, the only reason I'm partnering with you and Gary, it is because of trust. And then he came back a few months after and gave another 100,000.
Right.
So you had businessmen like him who were doing things that was never done before, and this was with accountability.
Yeah.
So before you had instances, and I'm not going to say under whose tenure, where you had businessmen doing certain things, but it was not for the public. It was for certain people in high office. And for people to put that level of trust, to say, here what happened, I understand you're under pressure, whole $500,000 in repairs, that is to get you back on board. And when you say that the trust was at 44%, I could tell you that maybe about 30 or 40% of those people who did not trust was based on political persuasion.
Yeah.
And that is the reality of it.
Yeah.
Let us face facts, Gary. When you look at everything in Trinidad, I remember, in fact, every single program that I have here, I have one caller who would call in. One caller to this Gary Griffith. Last week he did not call, but his grandmother called. Right? So, so she took his place. And the thing is, no matter what you try to beat into these people's head, they don't understand. And I understand because you and I share the same type of personality. It's a type A personality. And as I said before, when you look at Gary Griffith's face, those 2 bags on his eyes didn't come from sleeping,
Yeah.
It came from being a commissioner day and night. You were out there back and forth. You were with SORT. You were with this one. And you worked in the field, whereas we did not have that before.
Yeah, I mean, it was 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. It affected my health. It affected my family.
You ended up in West Shore?
Yeah, twice.
Not West Shore, St. Clair.
St. Clair, twice.
Yes.
And that is, and the only reason I was doing that is because I knew that the country needed somebody there to lead the police service out of the dinosaur era that they had before. And when the audacity of people, even the same Stanley John, he went to do an you decide, under the PSC to do an investigation, you decide to go and check the I Support Our Service. That had nothing to do with firearms. But people just nasty. And what it started doing, the business sector realized, we are here willing to help. And we are being interrogated now, and then they wanted to drop tools.
They will back down.
They will back down. But that is what some people wanted, because remember, when Nigel Henry did his poll on Gary Griffith, 89% of the population said they wanted me to return or had no issue with me returning.
Right.
So there will always be that 11%. That 11% will be the criminal elements, will be persons who just do not like the alpha type of personality, or people who are very political. So don't be surprised now that because of my difference in opinions with the government, that 89% could probably go down to 80 now, because some people make decisions based on politics. So because Gary and Rowley I forget about what Gary did for the country, forget about how he changed the police service, forget about how crime went down. He and Rowley are not partners again, so I don't like him. And then you will probably have some UNC people that will say, you see that? Now that he doesn't like Rowley, I like him now. I just wish that one day we could have persons, not just that 250,000 who comprise that third constituency, who are independent thinkers, but are born at PNM and are dead at PNM and are UNC till are dead. That doesn't help. Make decisions based on right and wrong. And if you do that, it will force the politicians and the political parties to do the right thing.
This Guardian front page, right? The Guardian front page you're about to see now, right? My guys will pull it up. And what is the first take when you see this Guardian front page, guys? Right.
Well, I thought he was speaking about himself.
Right? I mean, when I saw it, I said to myself, look at this Gadaha. Right? And just in case you don't know, Gadaha is a Hindi word for donkey.
Thank you.
Right?
I was going to ask.
And Yayan is also a word for donkey.
Yeah.
Right? So you know that one. I know you know how to spell Dwayne.
Yes.
Right? Now,
I think that is why the finance, I wasn't getting the funds from the
and I
Ministry of
would
Finance.
notice, when you saw that front page, how did you feel? What was your first reaction?
Well, the first thing it goes to, you're Prime Minister, and like a little child, you there leaking out information to the media. You have a National Security Council, you submit a report, and you decide to leak it to Ria Tate. You have text messages with Gary, you leak it to the media. So you have a concern with me, but look at what you call disrespectful. You were out of place as a Prime Minister to make operational statements to direct the police or to influence the police how to do their job. You're a civilian, you're a Prime Minister, but you are saying, I can't tell the police, but what I can tell the police is that people knew what you were alluding to, because the Guardian the next day, Prime Minister buffs Griffith by telling him that he should have arrested the people in Bayside. You were fast and out of place as a Prime Minister. You had no right, no Prime Minister must have a right to direct the police or influence them how to do their job. Because I did the right thing, and because I exposed your ignorance in understanding the law, because I stopped police officers from breaching not affecting the constitutional rights of citizens, you take offense to this. And that's okay. You take offense, so you're right to the PSC. But then after you decide to leak it to the media, so by point in turn, if I decide to go down his road and decide to leak the messages he sent to me, he certainly wouldn't like it.
Leak it. I will just now. I have money, I have credit card, I have links, I have cash. Brother man, one organized one time I was supposed to give my wife some money for anniversary.
All right, so
I willing to give you all that. No, but I mean, let us face facts. The Prime Minister has a problem with people getting under his skin. For example, quite recently, when I asked him about a certain businessman, where he getting his US currency from, and I asked that question together with the media, and he told me to kiss his K-Pax. Yeah. And this is the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And then I tell myself, the person that I am, the kind of Gary-ish person I am, I responded accordingly, and I told him, I would love to kiss your K-Pax, but I cannot tell the difference between that and your head. You understand? Because I have no respect for the man. The man is an idiot. He's a bungling idiot. And I have said it before, and I'll say it again. Where we have reached, we are putting an entire country at risk right now. A friend of mine, and you probably may know him, Insaf.
Yes.
A gentleman on our committee, with our hospital committee, he has been working night and day tirelessly together with all our engineers, architects, draftsmen, you name it, contractors, to do this project. Guys, could we get that video, please? The video with Zaki, right? This gentleman was held at gunpoint and his vehicle taken, right? The reality of it is that when that happened, I had forwarded that. Just double check and make sure you have it, guys. Right, this is it here. This guy used to work for me here. His name is Zaki. And the vehicle that you're seeing, not the other vehicle there on your left, the one on the right at the bottom of the screen, right? That is Insaf's vehicle. Well, you're not seeing right? You're not seeing INSAF in your picture here, but INSAF has that Ranger TDX 7940. They went with a gun to his head and they told him, give them the keys. And INSAF told him, my daughter is in the back sleeping. I am not giving you anything until I get my daughter. And let me tell you something. That fella that they hold in there is like a big teddy bear, you know. If you know Zaki don't talk back to anybody. He don't talk loud. He's not a person to insult anybody. This is what, and there you go. Pull her back a little bit, guys. That is INSAF. And this gentleman worked so hard, still paying off for his vehicle. And now he has lost that vehicle. And come back to me, guys. And this is where we have reached in this country, Commissioner. I know Sergeant Swamba. And Sergeant Swamba used to always call me and say, boy, you know your boy doing a good work and this and that. And you try to make so much difference in every division. And the fact is that things were progressing. Gary, when a man loses a vehicle, that is $200,000, $300,000 in one shot. We have 1,500 vehicles being stolen in this country every year. The value of those vehicles is, you're talking about millions and billions of dollars in vehicles. But yet it is, very little is being done to circumvent what is taking place. What did you put in place? Or if you could, clarify some of the things that were put in place to deal with the stolen vehicles and how rampant it was at that time.
Well, we had specific units, and there are a number of things ensured. I mean, going from the Operation Command Center, the Commissioner's Command Center, speaking to Stuart Young for 3 years to tell him that the 999 unit cannot be under the Ministry of National Security. A 999 unit is supposed to ensure that within seconds you can have an immediate response. Only last night I turned up there, and there are 14 chairs for persons. One person turned up for duty because there are civilians that run it. Many people know about a 9. If your car is stolen and you immediately get an effective 999, immediately when you where the car is, that 999 system could go to the Operation Command Center. We have 17,000, all these 1,700 cameras all over the country. You can pinpoint where the vehicle is. Having the ERP vehicle system that I put, that is also shutting down shortly. Making sure we have the rapid response. We have GPS tracking on the police vehicles, dashboard cameras on the vehicles. We did so much to try to minimize these things. And many of these things, unfortunately, well, you would have seen it being shut down, dismantled. And all of this is because our Prime Minister sees, look, I have an issue with how he embarrassed me. And he is basically, you know, they're saying the voice of people is the voice of God. 89% of the country is saying something. And you to yourself said, I am the Prime Minister. I don't care what 89% of the country say. I do not care if crime goes up. I do not care if people are affected. And I'm not saying Gary Griffith, you know, because it doesn't have to be me. But at least for God's sake, you, instead of listening to the public, you, because of your small-minded personality, you know, there's a saying with bullies. Bullies hate to have a way where when you're a bully and people stand up to you, they take great offense. And that is what basically happened. He expected that every single thing he wanted. It seems that this government wants to have a yes man as a commissioner of police, somebody that we will tell you what to do and you will do it. We have a situation with all that is going on now in Shun, with robberies, murders, persons being kidnapping starting back, prison officers being killed. And our Minister of National Security pulls a press conference to say, we are going to deal with having an audit of legal firearms being given to law-abiding citizens. And then senior officers are stating, and we may very well seize it from you as well. So the law-abiding citizens are now being boxed in. For 4 months, not one firearm has been given to a lawful, law-abiding citizen. And you are doing, this is going to be the 6th different report and investigation on firearms. First, Hayden Prashad did one. Then Barrington did one. I did one. Olep did one. Stanley John did one. And now they brought in 3 other retirees.
But what was the outcome?
Nothing. And that's the point. So what they want to keep doing is keep having reports, keep having investigations as a factor to try to deflect. Because that's what they do. Instead of putting the focus on prison officers being killed, crime escalating. It's a spike that we have seen never before. And people are saying there's not a spike. Where they've been 70 or 80 more murders in the last 3 months than the 3 months last year. And with all of that going on, you figure let's have a deflection. So let us try to turn the story and speak about firearms. Lawful citizens, there have been, of the hundreds of murders that have taken place every year for the last 3 years, every single murder based on a firearm has been an illegal firearm. Not one legal firearm has been used last year, has been stolen based on negligence, has been lost, has been used for a crime, or has been used for a murder. But you as a minister, your whole focus is on legal firearms. Just a few days ago, a person with a legal firearm used his firearm to put an end to 2 criminals who tried to take away his assets. And that is why the legal firearms were given. But it seems that you have an issue with law-abiding citizens having the right to bear arms and to protect themselves instead of putting the focus on criminal elements who have illegal firearms. That is unbelievable. Now, Fitzgerald Hines spent 30 years as an OJT preparing for this situation to be a minister. 30 years, Patrick Manning watched him and realized you are not good enough to be a senior minister. You finally get the chance, and all that you spending all your time to do is to go after Gary Griffith. And while Rome is burning.
No, the fact is that, and I could say this without apology, I mean, there is no ministry that I think that Fitzgerald Hines has ever succeeded in. And this has been on par with him for year upon year upon year under the PNM. And quite frankly, this was just a gift to him for supporting Rowley. I mean, that is where I see it.
But a ministry like the Ministry of National Security.
But what sense does it make, Gary? What you need to understand is this. Okay, let's open up the box now. You have a commissioner that actually made a difference, that actually made a dent in crime, that went down to Westmoreland, let me repeat, went down to Westmoreland and interfered with people in Westmoreland, minister family too. And nobody ever did anything like that. You expect them to want you there? You expect the Prime Minister to call you from Mount Hololo or wherever it is and say, Gary, you see that thing they don't at Bayshore? You had to do X, you had to do Y. You refused because you did not want to trample on nobody's rights. Do you expect to be on the Prime Minister's good side? Haul your tail. Who the hell are you?
Well, again, I have received concerns about that. I mean, even we could go, we could be very blunt with AV drilling. When the AV drilling took place, when they said from a legal perspective, the case is closed, I was very clear when I said the case is still very much open because what attorneys decide between themselves had nothing to do with the police investigation.
Correct.
And the police investigation, we had enough evidence to verify that we needed to move forward, and we were trying to, for 8 months, I was trying to get funds from the government to get a qualified engineer to verify that what we had in our initial investigation was correct. And they would not give me the funds required. Because if we got those funds, it would have provided me to move forward. Now that Gary Griffith is no longer there, you could bet your bottom dollar that case will probably be shelved now.
Well, we'll wait and see. Now, guys, could we get the slide with the law that they want to enact? Now, we know that if the merit list had a chance of coming up, we know now that merit list and the chance of you going up as commissioner, they're dead now, based on that new law that they want to put into effect. Could we get that slide, guys? Right. Legal Notice 277. And the government has drafted legislation that will give a fresh mandate to the recently installed Police Service Commission to select candidates for the post of Police Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, blah, blah, blah. Legal Notice 277 of 2021, which will be brought to Parliament at the earliest opportunity. We have nothing else to bring up, to safeguard the citizenry of this country. We have nothing else to bring up. This is important. Replaces 2 pieces of legislation. Leader of Government Business in the Law House, Camille Robinson Regis, told Newsday that the matter is a top priority and at the next sitting it will be laid. Parliament was adjourned today, blah, 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 blah. The new Legal Notice 277 facilitates a fresh search for a Commissioner of Police and Deputy. This means the merit list for Commissioner of Police done by the previous PSC will no longer apply. So in other words, that merit list, dead. The notice also, pull that back up guys, the notice also changes the process to appoint an acting cop, limiting that to certain ranks of officers in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and not contracted people. This essentially was directed to you.
Well, if anyone, the biggest PNM supporter, can't read through that to understand deliberate government interference.
100%.
You cannot, I mean, Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see it. And that is what caused all of this. It showed, based on this, that everything that took place at President's House and the PSC, there was deliberate government interference. This was the last piece in the puzzle. So when it is they try to play Pontius Pilate and say, well, we had nothing to do about it, throw a shaggy and say it wasn't me. The president, instead of taking that list to Parliament, she was advised by someone. The president then wrongfully taken it and given it back to the PSC chairman. The PSC chairman trying to get it rescinded. The PSC chairman lying to the other PSC members to say that I was interfering. The PSC chairman breaking the law by trying to suspend a commissioner of police without authorization. The PSC chairman refusing to listen to the other PSC members when they told her, you need to resend that letter because you had no right to remove Gary. And then after, the PSC chairman bringing in Stanley John. All of this was part of a massive orchestrated plot because they did not want me. And then the government, who through the National Security Council had a report from a fellow named Barrington, who had no investigative authority, puts a report with, it is alleged, it is rumored, hearsay, everything, and then the National Security Council gives it to Rhea Tate for her to leak and try to discredit persons. That is the standard of what we had here. So by this coming out now, when the new PSC came and my attorneys went public and then senior counsel Martin Daly exposed it, there is no justification to shut down the merit list. Rhea Tate, she's a Bush lawyer, so she said, oh, well, based on a new PSC, it means that everything that was done before is null and void because Rhea Tate has turned into an attorney now. Based on Martin Daly and others, we showed that the merit list, nothing was done wrong with it. It was bona fide, it was legit. And the PSC, based on justifiable expectations of the candidates from the last merit list, it must be brought forward. The government realizing that, what they did is, listen, you see this? We got to get this out of the hands of the new PSC just in case they are not under the control of us like what we had with the last PSC chairman. So what we have to do now is to ensure that we stop the PSC from having a choice by having a new legal notice to stop the merit list. That shows fear for the fact that you do not have a peer, all that was required. If you do not want Gary Griffith, reject me in Parliament where it matters. He did not want to do that. He was fearful of that merit list going to Parliament. And then now by putting a new merit list, Gary Griffith could easily reapply. I could give you the points in 2018. I defeated...
Could we pull up those points, guys? The 2018 merit list with the figures. That would definitely show, it would show a difference in what we had then. And you were saying, there we go, zoom into that, please.
No, if you look at, and these are all the people who applied for Commissioner of Police. So on Gary Griffith, if you look at it, almost every single one of the assessments I was able to top. And
Stephen Williams beat you at management and style by 5.
0.05.
Right, so.
Now, if you look at McDonald Jacobs, 65.54, and you go back up now to Gary Griffith.
Let's go back up,
to 81.94. So I was able to defeat McDonald Jacob by 16%. And this is a time where Gary Griffith had no qualification, no experience, no track record.
Imagine that.
So 3 years later, with every crime going down, as soon as I left, every crime going up, public trust and confidence going up from 14 to 42, public support of 89%, and every one of my 3 years of assessments was excellent or very good. So with that, it meant that the merit list this time, the information that I have is that I was able to beat the second person by about 20%. And if it is they do it over, I could reapply and I will still keep topping the merit list. So what they're going to do, keep scrapping the merit list until you could find some type of trump-up charge to try to smear Gary Griffith's name. That, ladies and gentlemen, that Trinidad and Tobago is what we have as a government right now.
Could we get that list again? I want to see who are the bottom of that list. I want to, let's go down. Right. Erla Christopher, Matthew Andrews, Wayne Thongs, what a name. Right?
Erla Christopher is she was one of the deputy commissioners of police, and she was one of those shortlisted.
Right. Okay, well, what happens is that Wayne Thongs may be one of those persons that the government may have at the top. To choose, because what happens is that they normally work upside down. So therefore, I wouldn't expect anything different. Right, so come back to me, guys. Well, just to let you know, you're watching Breaking Barriers Live. I have former Commissioner of Police, Captain Gary Griffith with me. And of course, it's time for us to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue. And of course, you have the opportunity to call in and ask your questions. And of course, be respectful and keep your comments very brief, please. We'll be back right after this.
At Extra Foods, we care for you. That's why we always have the widest varieties, the best prices, spacious aisles of total convenience, plus clean, safe surroundings. Let us care for you. Extra Foods, always extra for less.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate free, all purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 480-8715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
IBN can be viewed on the go now with the Airlink TV app for Google devices. Simply go to the Google Play Store, search for the Airlink TV app, download the app, click on the link and fill out the form. The account activation will be emailed or texted to the user. It's safe as no credit card is needed. The first 30 days are free and you can subscribe and receive a box for your TV to stream the same content.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Southern Main Road, Canupia.
The results of increased oxygenation are spectacular. From improved cognitive function, skin rejuvenation, and better sleep, to increased energy, performance, and overall health, the Cure team has spent years inventing and perfecting this formula. So you can experience the amazing benefits of extra oxygen in a refreshing, ultra-smooth bottle of water. Welcome to Cure.
And welcome back, my friends. And of course, for those of you who would like to text me or WhatsApp me, 684-4762. And as I said before, we are starting to take your calls shortly. Now, during this week, a video shocked the nation and brought everyone to their knees. And for every parent, this was a nightmare, watching that child scamper and run around. And of course, most of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's take a look at this, where the prisons officer was murdered in front of his child. Now, Commissioner Gary, as you could see, this is the vehicle here, and this is the beginning. Let's run the video, guys. Right. So the video is running here now, and we will see shortly when the Mazda 3 will pull up right on the bottom of the screen. Right now, after that car passes. Right. So, this is the reality of it. A man with his child. This is the vehicle here. Pulls up in front of him. His child is there. And brutally murders this man. Remember, this is very graphic. Eh? Now watch this. We are counting down. About 3 to 4 seconds is what it took. Pull back that for me, guys. Pull it back for me. I saw an article with Jacob where it said about 10 seconds. Right? Now, in real time, right, that's the vehicle going there. Right, good, there we go. 1, 2, 3, and look at the top of the police light here. Several things happened here. One, those gunshots could have been heard. Right? Number 2, the reality of it is that I spoke to senior officers and I was told that no calls were made to Central Command. That is what I was told. Number 3, I was told, and this is information that came to me, and we rely in the media here on information, and if the police service can rebut it, then provide us with that information. We were told that it was 2 WPCs who went out for lunch. That is what we were told. But my experience with vehicles, because we have serviced literally over 5,000 police vehicles. A Mazda 3 has a 1500cc engine. An X-Trail has a 2000cc engine. How does a Mazda 3 outrun an X-Trail? Explain that to me. I would like the Commissioner of Police to explain that to me. Not only that, we're just 3 seconds behind. If calls were made and things were followed the way it should have been followed, those fellas would have been long on the chair. Well, you know which chair I'm talking about, right? And then, or they would have been behind bars. The reality of it is that for me, this makes absolutely no sense. But to watch a child being scarred for life, and then you have Don Quixote and him coming up and saying, we will provide counseling for the child. Too late. No matter how much counseling you provide for that child has to live with that, because that is now etched in the psyche of that child. Her father being murdered in cold blood. I mean, when I don't even want to even play back that video again, because when you saw the reaction of the child could not even run towards her father, because once she heard the gunshots and she saw her father fell, she knew she was living in Trinidad and Tobago and knew exactly what happened. But you see, in Trinidad, we don't have a problem with that. We like to play politics, because the man who was helping the police service get rid of him and put somebody who is God knows what. I don't even want to use the word on here. There's another letter telecom authority go right back in. So based on what you just saw, with 3 seconds difference, with what I just said, I mean, I have been repairing vehicles all my life. And I know that no way in hell a Mazda 3 could outrun an X-Trail. No way in hell. That's number one. Number two, why it is we are not seeing videos from after that, showing if anybody was trailing behind, how far were they, if the car went straight and the officers decided to go left, or if the officers decided, well, boy, here what happened? You see that? Them have gone. We dead. We come on the road to get lunch. We are nothing. So let me see if we can make a call. Where are the phone records for the officers? Why don't they make that public to show what calls were made? How long did it take to make calls? Am I making sense here? Tell me. From what
again, this is not, I ask the public not to knock the whole police service. I mean,
no,
these men have been really working tirelessly over the last few years. But again, if it is that I put so many systems in place, I'll give you an example with that. A system like that, immediate drills that we put into all police service, all vehicles, you get that, you immediately call the Operation Command Center. The Operational Command Center that had about 15 persons, 24/7, watching all the cameras in the country. That command center will now immediately, so you say, we now have a shooting at the corner of so-and-so and so-and-so street. They will lock onto all the cameras, pinpoint the vehicle, and be able to use the cameras to follow the vehicles. We then had the Emergency Response Patrol. The Emergency Response Patrol had police vehicles GPS tracked. So we were monitoring the police vehicles to make sure they stay in their area of responsibility. So what will happen is if we saw that, the Operations Center would have, this was during the Gary Griffith era, we will now say vehicle, ERP vehicle 15, 16, and 17. We see you all at the closest proximity, home in on this vehicle. So it's not an all-point bulletin throughout the country. You have the vehicles in closest proximity to lock onto that vehicle.
But that makes sense.
Those are the things that we did.
But that makes absolute sense, and that is how things are supposed to work.
Yeah.
But it looking like we back to the vehicle radio and walking again.
Well, I want to throw a line here that, let me open the Pandora's box. Some people started making comments, and I don't know if that is the same situation here.
Right.
They said that since Gary Griffith left, in the last 3 months, how many police shootings at criminals have we heard? I think the answer is 0. Now, before me, there were a lot. So people say, see, thank God Gary left, because now police not shooting at criminals. But guess what? The reason why it was happening is because situations like that, police officers knew to themselves, my boss is going to protect me if I do the right thing. and I will go after the criminals. And police officers will have challenged criminals. They will take them on. And if criminals shoot at police officers or aim their weapons at police officers, I give them full clearance to fire back. What it did, it put fear into the criminals. It made criminals realize, I do something like this, if a police vehicle nearby, they will riddle my vehicle like a strainer. They now, because they know that the police officers have now they've stepped back somewhat because they do not know if they will get that protection, the criminals have become more brazen, become more bold-faced in what I could kill someone in cold blood, in broad daylight, and the police not going to challenge me. So whereas people, they seem happy now, look, police are not shooting at criminals. The reason for it is because many police officers realize that they're not going to be protected by the leadership. And when that happens, the criminals know that. So the criminals are now becoming more bold, more aggressive, and that is where we can very well have seen the reason for the spike in crime.
Let us just change it up a bit. Guys, could we call that number that I asked you to call, please? And also, could we run the video in the meantime, please? The video with the gentleman by the bus. Yes. Yes, the... Yes. Edward Moody.
Yes, brother. Good night.
Good night, sir. In studio, I have former Commissioner of Police. And of course, we have that video. Pause there, guys. Right. All you recognize that fella in the stripe there, Zakir? That was the man, right? You know who is that? Mr. Suka.
What?
Look, Mr. Suka, but I don't know the one on the left. That one on the left, there are two of them, was controlling everything, telling everybody who to arrest, who not to arrest.
Please hang up and...
Pointing to this one, left, right. Hold on a second, you'll call him our guest now. Pointing to this one and that one. Now, I want you to watch this other video. Ask him my video from Shagonas, please. The video that for 10 of us, not even about to start a protest. This is where Hodge Griffith, you know, Happy Diwali to the Muslim community. Yep, that is she self, right? Jabba Joe she self, right? Jabba Joe. And look who, Quenk himself, come. Look, Espanol, come. No habla Espanol. Donde es el baño, right? Let's forward this a little bit, guys. Let's forward this. This is all the people that were gathered here. That is all the people, about 10 of us. All these police, including a 25-seater bus, come first. What's the amount of vehicles, Gary? Came from me, right? Came from me. But Venezuelans coming in by the boatload and certain senior officers facilitating because they are part of the whole ring. You understand? Certain senior officers, right? So watch this. Photographer, police jeep, car across the road, and about 9 vehicles plus a 25-seater bus came for me. Right? Came for me. And not only that, before we went to actually host this session, the police hired a wrecker to tow vehicles. Imagine, before we arrived, this is what we saw under Soka or Soka, whoever the hell his name is. Right? Come back to me, guys. So, what I saw there in Port of Spain pains me. Because, call back Moody there again for a second, guys. Because I want to verify something. Yeah, Moody, just make sure. Okay, his television is way too loud. So he needs to step away from his television because you're getting feedback. Please advise him of that before you put him back on, please. Moody, hello?
Hi, Karen.
Yeah, what I'm saying, we are still hearing a lot of feedback, guys.
I'm not sure what it is, but
hello? Right, Moody. Hello?
Yes, good night.
Yes, good night. Okay, something is definitely wrong here because I'm getting a heavy amount of feedback emanating from the studio here. Could we try that back again, please? Because What happened is that I want to make sure and get this call. Let's get this, let's go back again. Let it ring in studio, please. You know Edward Moody, right?
Yeah, of course, yes, sir.
Hi, good night.
Hi, good night. Mr. Moody?
Yes, good night, brother.
How are you, sir? Well, of course, I have with me here in studio Captain Gary Griffith, and I'm sure you were probably tuned in.
Yes, I am. Good night, Mr. Griffith.
Hi, good night. How are you?
Right.
I'm fine.
Now, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Yesterday when you were there, you saw my vehicle arrived, correct?
Correct.
And what was the first thing you came up to me and told me?
To get out of here because I just heard one of the inspectors tell the other one that you see that man there, I want him a while now, and follow him and lock him up from a place.
I didn't hear you properly because I cocky deaf.
Yeah, one inspector told the other one, that is the two guys that I sent you the picture of this morning. One told the other one that they wanted you a long time, follow you and lock you up.
Now, I am about to play the video that you sent me. I want you to identify which gentleman it is, please. Guys, could we run that video, please? While you're looking on at your television set, I want you to verify. Right? So run the video, guys. Right. Moody, pause, guys. Moody.
Yes, brother.
Right. You're looking at the two gentlemen on the screen right now. Which one is it?
Well, I don't have a television on right now, but what I can tell you, the two inspectors that were there, one of them had a long sleeve khaki with a cap on. The other one was shorter with a long sleeve striped shirt.
Right.
Two inspectors.
Right. Was it the one with the long sleeve striped shirt who said that they waiting for that man a long time?
Correct. That is himself.
Soka, the man that cussed me about my mother in Chaguanas. That man, right? That man who calls himself a senior police. That man is the same man who a Venezuelan with all she totots hang out with police uniform. With his jacket, Soka written on the front. Right? Going and locking up people. He going and locking up people. And then he telling people that he waiting for me a long time. Well, come back to me. Let me make something clear. I want a single shot. I want to make this clear on air tonight. Anytime somebody play the pushing me, this time I plan to push harder. I'm making that clear tonight. I am not going to take no false lockup. I am not going to take no setup again, especially by no stink mouth inspector. And I say that without apologies, because at the end of the day, I've had enough, because I live in a country where we are supposed to have some semblance of sanity here. Not we have senior officers targeting citizens of this country. I remember we were thrown in a bus. I was put in a jail cell. We were kept overnight because of Soka. Right? When one of the senior officers there told him, but we're keeping the man in the jail cell for, he said, like, Ishmael had the murder, this and that. Right? And I heard it over the phone, speakerphone. Le Ishmael had the dirty so and started cuss over the phone. And this is a man that locking up people. All you give me a blasted break. All you expect the police service to recover from this? When all you have fellas like them? Not in hell. Not in hell. And I'm saying it again. This is one man. All you push, this time I plan to push back harder. Because I ain't taking no stupidness. I ain't taking no dotishness. I'm not taking it. Right? Because when I realized that this was the man, and I want all you to watch this video. Moody?
Yes, brother. Go ahead.
Right. I want people to listen to the audio. So just bear with us while this audio is being played, and then I will come to you. Go ahead and run that video, guys. Beginning now. Jacket public and fit him again, the same one in Venezuela was ready. Those two gentlemen there, somebody identify, pause, come back to me. Somebody identify that gentleman there for me, please, with the short shirt, with the short sleeve shirt. Let's go again. Pull back, pull back.
Inspector, good
pull
day.
back. Right. That gentleman with the short sleeve shirt, those were the two men. That one was a little more quiet, the one with the short sleeve shirt. But my boy with the stripes, he was pulling stripes on everybody. So let me go again. Run it.
Inspector, good day. Edward Moody. Excuse me?
Pause. I want the public to look carefully at how my partner here, Cornholio. I want to let us see how Cornholio operating here. Right? El Baño. Let's go again.
Inspector, look at us, stop all this.
Harry, what's what happens when that happens?
They make a mistake today. They make a mistake. They do shit. Police really stupid up. They're really stupid. They don't realize what they do, they just rail up the people.
Right. Guys, just mute the volume there for a second and let it run, because it had a lady using S this and S that and things. So I'm just mute her for a second, right? Let me just clear that just for safety's sake and let us write. So all you're seeing for yourself, who controlling all the shots and who telling them who to do what, right? Who to do what, right? Watch it carefully, right? Now, let's open back up the volume again and run the clip. There's a piece of this I want you to look at, Gary, and tell me what are your thoughts when you... There's a gentleman that will come up in about... What? Pull back that. Pull back that. Pull it back a little bit. Pull it back again. I want to... Right. Watch how they manhandle that fella. Let's go again. Watch it there, watch it. The man did nothing. He was just standing on his side and they decided to use him as a target. But we're going again. Alright, this is what I'm talking about. Right, here we go.
Where we going, boy? Where we going? 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 Where this country going? Where we going? Officer, what are you doing? Officer, I'm begging them to release the people in the place. What are you doing? What are you doing? Officer, what are you doing?
Watch. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch. Only watch this, someone. Watch. Watch that. Come back, right. Moody.
Yes, brother.
Good.
I'll show you, you see where I was filming that man crying out.
Yes, and
I was not in the crowd, but I was singled out together with all the other activists to be locked up on that day.
So, let me get this correct. You were told, and in fact, from what we saw, confirmation was received that instructions were given to lock up all the activists. Is that correct?
Correct. Now, let me tell you what we tried to do. When they told us that we had no permission to use the horns, that the little horns we had, to talk to the people, when the crowd grew thicker, we went through the crowd and kept insisting 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. We had 3 horns. The inspector came up and said we had no permission to use that. So Winston Ragu, my TK, came up to the officers peacefully and said to them, could you bring a police vehicle a little closer and allow us to instruct the crowd to disperse because of the public health regulations. And the 2 inspectors, the cell 2 that we just looked at, said, hold on a little bit right here. We will bring the van. Instead of doing that, they turned on my TK and Winston Ragu and said in another video, these are the 2 leaders, lock them up. And they were taken on because the 2 inspectors were heard saying we need 2 more at the heads, 2 more, let me find 2 more at the heads. And after doing that, I still tried talking to the inspector and said, could you bring the vehicle, we will speak to the people. By then they had started grabbing individuals that the 2 inspectors were pointing out in the crowd, that one, this one, and the crowd got very angry. And then they started congregating closer to the bus to give support and express their disgust for what they were seeing the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service had come to. It was a shame. It was a shame. Let me tell your viewers something tonight. Edward Moody walked from Point 14 with a contingent of less than 10 people. We were constantly in contact with Special Branch, who was escorting us into Port of Spain. We made it clear to them that if they see anything that we had breached, let us know so we could fix it. Not knowing that by the time we reached Port of Spain, there was a master plan to trap all the activists who had now been taking over the responsibility and the job of the politicians, because the politicians have failed us in this country. And the intention was to lock us up and treat us like monsters. And that, in my opinion, is when our country and our democratic right have been shoved under the carpet, and this is now a dictatorship. But we are not going to stop.
All right. Thank you very much, Edward Moody.
You're welcome.
Well, wait, before you say anything, can I just juxtapose this to the candlelight vigil?
That's exactly what I was going to make mention
The
of.
difference, chalk and cheese. What, and I could talk from the side we won. Calls were made to you. You facilitated a gathering and you said, let it conform with the law.
Yep.
And the officers there were respectful. The officers were not disrespectful. They were not locking up people. They were not abusing people. And this is the difference from what we are seeing.
That's what I was actually going to mention, Inshan. The first thing is, had I been Commissioner of Police, I would have been on that location immediately. That was almost identical to the location where there was the Black Lives Matter movement, and several hundred persons there. The Commissioner of Police leadership by example, I was on the ground to make sure that there would be no confrontation between the persons who had serious legitimate concerns and police officers who know that they have a job to do to ensure that the law is enforced. That is where leadership comes in. I would have expected to see one of the 3 supposed to be the DCPs who should have been there to make sure that there's a level of calm control, which is what I did with the Black Lives Matter. When I went there, they were borderline to have similar confrontations. I was able to minimize it, keep everybody under control, communicate, and put an end to it. What is also important is consistency, because you do this, but just a few weeks ago, there was a funeral, and a funeral with hundreds upon hundreds of persons.
Could we, I think I know what you're talking about. Do we have any graphics for that, guys? I don't know if we have any, but we might have 1 or 2
and then the police,
graphics with our funeral.
And then the leadership or the police, they say, well, it reached so many people at that time, we thought it best not to intervene.
Wait, look at it. Jacob's Abu excuse. He said the funeral was being monitored by the divisional commanders, officers on the ground, and several agencies. It wouldn't have been wise. You need to make decisions as head of a department. They made certain decisions because it was felt that it might have made matters worse if they had attempted to take action. So this is what our boy Jacob's Ladder decided to do, right? He decided that we can't get involved because how we go look, next thing you know, the people start to misbehave. So what is the difference between those people and the ones guarding Savannah?
That is my point, Inshan, consistency. And then there was another, just a few weeks ago, when there was a political rally in Tobago, and the same thing happened, and they admitted that they did not put enough police presence to have prevented it from taking place. So there were two specific situations, all identical, with hundreds of people gathered, one in a political meeting in Tobago. The police admitted that they didn't control it. Then they had the situation with the funeral, and you stayed then, because of the number of people that were there at the funeral, we saw it best for us not to intervene.
Wait, I want to correct you there. It's not only two. Let me bring in a third example, guys. There was something that took place in Beetham. You remember, in Sealots. You remember the boxing match?
Yes.
The boxing match. So here is Jacobs. Police are pleading with citizens to adhere to the public health ordinance. The Express was told that the match took place between persons of various committees after clips of challenges went viral, etc. The matches took place around 7 p.m. Police were only made aware of the incident near the end of the bout. Imagine that, eh? With all the intelligence, and Sealots is on the edge of the capital. Sealots is on the edge of the capital. You're supposed to be aware of every bloody thing taking place. Pull that back up, guys. Now, the Express was told officers observed almost 100 persons at the venue, and no one was observed wearing masks or practicing social distancing. At the time, the intent was to arrest the individuals. However, the first responders did not anticipate the large group. In other words, you see, for donkey and mule, they go bring bus. But for people who they are afraid of, who they are fearful of, pull that back again. I want you to, at the time, the intent was to arrest, right? As such, people were warned and they were instructed to go home, an instruction which was complied. Imagine that. Imagine that they were warned.
No, again, going back to the Prime Minister's comment last year, where he spoke about he wanted to show a level playing field when he was wrong. But in this situation, I would love to hear his voice now, where it is he's just trying to direct the police service as to what they should and shouldn't do. But there's a saying, you can't be half pregnant. You can't give clearance on moral suasion and back off because the funeral reached hundreds of persons, a political meeting reached like that, Sealots boxing match reached like that. But in this situation, you shift the goalposts. It does not look good. It gives the perception that some people are more equal than others.
But that is a fact. That is a fact. And for me, and I will use myself as the example now, my company was considered one of the premier repair facilities. You, as the former commissioner, the reports that you got on my company, was it positive or negative?
No, it was second to none. And then when I was now being directed to say, send the vehicles to Vemcot instead, when Vemcot was, their charge was almost 2 times more than yours and other dealers. And I wonder what is the value of it? What are you you're telling me how to spend the police funds, but you're directing me to go to a place where the cost will even be more.
Well, what we're going to do, this program normally wraps up at 9:30. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a short break. And I'm going to just take a few of your calls. Remember, you're watching Breaking Barriers right here on IBN Channel 8. Let me just say a special hello to the Prime Minister who's watching from Tobago, and to his wife, of course, who always views this program. A very brilliant attorney at that. And I always tell her, God bless you. You are a woman with patience unlike any other person I've ever known in my life. May God continue to bless you with health and strength, ma'am, because you have gizzard and liver unlike any other. We'll be back right after this.
Viva Original is back. The taste you love and remember in strawberry and lime flavors. Viva naturally flavored sparkling water.
Viva Original is back. Viva.
IBN can be viewed on the go now with the Airlink TV app for Google devices. Simply go to the Google Play Store, search for the Airlink TV app. Download the app, click on the link and fill out the form. The account activation will be emailed or texted to the user. It's safe as no credit card is needed. The first 30 days are free and you can subscribe and receive a box for your TV to stream the same content.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Southern Main Road, Cunupia.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate free, all purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 4808-715 or visit us at Warrenville, Cunupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
And welcome back. Thank you so much. In fact, I am looking at some of the responses here. I mean, interestingly enough, when I am on this program myself, the ratings are very high tonight. It dropped a little bit because we had Gary on air, but we will find a way to recover, maybe through our calls. You know, and this is, you know, let me say that this is the relationship that I have with this man and his wife. I mean, this man there has not been a commissioner where you could call him and say Commissioner X, Y, and Z, and all of a sudden, for example, there were people who were being targeted by their husbands, etc. And I would send it to Gary. And in minutes, somebody call him back and say, boy, here what happened? Police pass, you know. Or somebody, you're living next to a donkey and they have music and your child studying. And in less than 10 seconds, police vehicles show up. What we saw was policing for the people. Not policing for convenience, you know. And that is something we never had before. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up our phone lines now. Remember, when you call in, turn on your volume, please, and let us keep your content very short because the gentleman, even though he's on no time constraint, remember his wife is expecting him at home. All right, so can we get the wide shot and let's go to our calls. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good night. We want to see some of the same immigration detention buses that went down to the Savannah yesterday in front of Parliament to start locking up some of these ministers.
I agree with her. What I mean is that, but the thing is that, you see, because the bus have bacteria in it, you can't put more bacteria in it again. You understand? Think about it. You have all kind of, cucamonga phobia and all that kind of thing. And when you add that, especially to sourness galore, it may cause a reaction. So let us avoid, doing that and damaging the bus and spoiling the bus. Because let's go again. Hello? You only laugh now, man. You only laugh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Captain, good night.
Good night.
Captain, boy.
Yeah, well, that's man official position. You can't take that from him. Like, how you take away commissioner, how you take away commissioner from you can't take away captain. Anyhow, Inchan, a brief question for you before I go to the captain. If you relate me a story and I know you're lying, no, sorry, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense because you're hiding something between the lines. Where's another term for that?
If
you're relating with something,
right,
but it doesn't make sense at all to no sensible person, what is the other term for that? You're lying.
Yes, correct.
So I could safely say McDonald Jacob lying.
Well, it depends on what it is he lying about.
This incident where the prison officer got shot.
Well, one was that according to...
I have to come to the conclusion he's lying because I look at his video and treat different network, you know.
Right.
Anyhow, over to the captain now. Captain, if you're not aware, you used a remark earlier tonight about nasty people. Nasty and dishonest. And if you're playing the game with them, you're going to be the bad egg. I'm so proud of you that you had not reapplied for the position of Commissioner of Police because you cannot deal with these people, the politicians, all these different committee and police service commissioner, all kind of thing. You can't deal with them if you're a clean man and them nasty. So better you stay out of it.
Thank you very much.
so much.
Yeah, but if he stays out of it, we dead. Yeah. We go get shoot, we go get killed, we go get chop. You know, we go get raped. Not we as in me. But at the end of the day, people go get raped, people go get kidnapped. I hear what happening. He better do what is necessary because my family depending on he to do something, anything. We have to, you know, one of the things that I have done is that we are looking at the 2nd and 3rd of January for a national shutdown. The 2nd and 3rd. And the good thing about that, nobody would be outside, so nobody can lock up nobody. You understand? Let's go again. Hello. All right, let's swing again. Hello. Hello.
Good night. I'm trying to get through to the program.
Yes, go ahead. You're live.
Good night, Mr. Griffith.
Good night. Good night, ma'am.
And I put handle to your name because that is what you deserve. Major respect. According to the young people, enough respect. And they took that away from you. They demoralize you. They try to humiliate you. But I am telling you, be strong and God is on your side. What you did for this country, the only man I know since I'm alive is Randolph Burroughs. And they didn't have cell phone that time. Thank God we have cell phone that we could have called you. Your wife was the only woman stand up in this country and make programs available for women after they started raping them and brutally murdering them. She had karate classes and so on. You hear? The rest of women that dress up in collar and tie did nothing for our young women in this country. People must see the writing and give credit where credit is due. You stand firm. You stand firm, Mr. Griffith. And things going to work out for you, but don't allow them to mash you and use you as a doormat. I am still praying for you. You hang in there, sir. You are the best that happened to this country when everybody sit down and get their law degree and they're coming out in the hot sun. You was on the ground. You came out. I looked at you. I said, but this man here even wearing his khaki on the ground in the hot sun when everybody in the air condition swinging on their chair. Sir, enough respect to you. And you're going to get what is rightfully yours after God. Trust me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paula.
Thank you.
You're blushing a little bit there, right?
A little,
Yeah. Hello? Hello?
Gentlemen, good night.
Good night, sir.
Right.
Good night.
Mr. Ishmael, Mr. Griffith, when the program done right, I want you all to sit down and watch over all yourself and tell me if you're happy about what you will see. Have a good night.
If we're happy about what we were seeing? No, I mean that.
Of course I was. But you know, he didn't give a comment. He didn't give a reason.
No, but the thing is that if you have somebody accustomed looking at himself and being dissatisfied, they would think that we have a problem too, you know.
Yeah. There's not one thing that anybody could question that what we said was not, I said was not accurate.
No, one is that you have people with puppy age and dog face go call and make a set of comments.
The truth hurts, sir. Sometimes the truth hurts.
Of course, we're going to lock up the man family for. What you're going to lock them up for? And that's why I always say, it have people who are so sour. You hear what happening? They could season a whale. You understand? Not only that, you could put them in milk and turn them into curds. This is to tell you kind of sourness some of these people have. Partner, if the madam giving you trouble, it's not because of she, it's because of you. Let's go to our lines. Hello.
Yeah.
Everything that we stated so far is facts.
Yeah.
But they have a problem with facts. Stupid people again. Hello.
Yeah, good night.
Good night. Go ahead.
Yeah, Inshan, good night, Gary.
Good night.
One thing I want to say about a book I do in school, boy. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what we know in this country.
Animal farm, boy.
Well, have a good night.
Thank you very much. Let's go again. We'll take about 3 or 4 more callers. Let's go. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead.
In short, Mr. Griffith, because you're not there, it seems as though people feel they could do what they want, when they want, and how they want, you know. They're like they're happy you're not there. But you know what I want to find out from you? What part of that criteria will affect you if you sort of reapply again? Is it the part where you want contract or something? What part will affect you really with that criteria that they have now?
Sure, okay. So Minister Stuart Young made sure he made the most of his position as Attorney General. So he got his little 7 days as Attorney General. Before the real Attorney General landed, he rushed in there to do a cabinet note to put in that to act as Commissioner of Police, you must be a serving police officer, which was total contrast to what was done initially. So he put it immediately, and this was Stuart Young. So to Trinidad and Tobago, by me not being in office, the person who has full responsibility for everything that is taking place in the country now, give Stuart Young all the credit. Because when Stuart Young tells the Prime Minister jump, apparently he asked Stuart how high. So it was because of Stuart Young that I cannot act as Commissioner of Police. The acting Commissioner of Police must be a serving or career police officer. It does not take away the substantive application, which is where I am now still the top of the merit list. So if they decide to do it over, which really and truly they should not, because the merit list is still alive. But if they decide to, the same criteria of 15 years service in law enforcement. We have the chairman of the Police Social and Welfare Association, Dixon. I can't believe one man could be so clueless. He said, he was in a show he was stating, he is disappointed that I was able to apply, but he has so many other police friends that could not apply. They could not apply because they did not have the qualification. The qualification is 15 years service in law enforcement. Law enforcement does not mean police. And to people, again, Jamaica's police commissioner was a colonel in the army. And the people who applied, Mr. Dixon, you want to get licks? Why didn't you apply? Because the same way I was able to defeat every single police officer who applied, I was able to beat you and lap you as well.
Well, what happened is that I just got a message here direct from the head of the TTPS. What they're saying is that they don't want to target you, but they are putting certain things in place to make sure that the following does not become commissioner. Your first name cannot start with G. Right? That's one. Number 2, your wife's name cannot be Nicole. Number 3, you cannot own a security company, right? Number 4, you cannot be semi-bald.
No, I shave.
No. Nicole told me that when you're washing your face, you're going back further now because you don't know where to stop.
Next caller.
Let's go again. Hello? Hello?
Hi. Good night, gentlemen.
Yes, good evening, sir. Go ahead.
What I like to see is that since we have no state of emergency on, whether the police were taking advice from any politician or if they're doing it on their own, I feel that the battery of lawyers should get together and put the commissioner in front of a judge and let him say whether what he did was right or whether he violated the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, and let him stand the bounds himself, let him put it in his pocket and pay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Unfortunately, what is happening is that we are living in a land now that is lawless. What happens is that the Prime Minister believes that he could do and say as he wants. He comes across as an ignoramus. And quite frankly, it is sad and sickening to see where we are heading, especially with the video that I just showed. This video has gone international. And then you have this man going to Barbados. I mean, Barbados just got Republican status. And you're going in the people country to do what? And the worst part is as well, we are building a $1 billion airport in Tobago, and the U.S. and other countries have advised their citizens not to travel to Trinidad and Tobago. So apparently we build an airport for Kubota land. That is how stupid we are. $1 billion we are spending when our country is frothing at the mouth. Let's go again, guys. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Griffith and Mr. Angel, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Calling from Tobago. There is something that Mr. Griffith doing that I don't like. I want you to go back and apply for commissioner, please. We need you.
Even Tobago,
Yes,
where they are about to...
If you don't apply for commissioner, me ain't coming back to Trinidad.
See that you causing people to flee.
Me ain't coming back to Trinidad. Partners, you know. All right, I didn't like Griffith before, but after I look at the show and make him to realize how much things he did, I want the man to go back for commissioner and stay there till the end.
Right. Well, what happens is that you could actually do him a favor and send a message to Papa Doc in Tobago. He there right now watching. What happens is that all
let me tell you something.
Turn Tobago green.
Yes, some fellas who come out of Tobago and was good men, but that's the worst man that come from Tobago and man the one me about him.
All right, thank you very much, my friend. Thank you so much. Commissioner, hear me, Commissioner. Gary, this is where we start to wind things down. You have the floor to say anything, everything. Let your heart out and your live out. Go ahead, the camera is yours.
Well, I think we went through a lot this evening. I asked Trinidad and Tobago. I just hope, I really and truly ensure when I operated, I mean, from being in the military, being a politician, being a commissioner of police, I just wanted to serve my country. I just want to find a way to make this a better country. There are people who will be haters, and they'll also have different opinions. But what is unacceptable is when it is that we try to put politics before what is right and wrong. And we have seen individuals, and when we do this, it will cause the politicians to feel that they have some degree of control and authority that they can abuse a process. What we have seen even with this merit list is so much towards the importance of constitutional reform. Basil Pandey spoke about it 25 years ago, but every government that gets in, they never change it because it benefits them. Because how that was done in 1976, it is designed to ensure you have virtual dictatorship. And that dictatorship means that when I'm in government, it's my time now. And you can see it. We have a merit list from an independent institution. Nothing is wrong with it. But because you are so weak, because you are afraid to reject me in Parliament, you decide to just put a legal notice, send it to a president who will rubber stamp it and amend it. That shows how, that is a typical example to show the importance of us transforming our constitution. It is not going to happen overnight, but I doubt it's going to happen with any government that this present government, they're not going to do it. We need to push heavily in a lawful way to try to transform Trinidad and Tobago. I give you assurance, I do not know what the future holds for Gary Griffith. What I can tell you is I would be there serving my country. If not in the position as Commissioner of Police, I would find other avenues. So I give the country that assurance.
Well, one thing I can tell you is that I know you very well, and I could assure you that anything that you have will be unleashed soon. Because at the end of the day, I know Gary. Gary ain't gonna let nobody trample on him. So here what's happening. Uncle Rowley, brace. That's all I can tell you. Brace.
He picked the wrong fight.
No.
He picked the wrong fight.
I know that because I know you, and I know you hear what's happening. I know you are not, because that young man, Gary Griffith Jr., that man looks up to you. And you know, I was just running through some of his photos, and in almost every photo you are there. And you could see, similarly to how my son looks up to me, that is exactly what he does. And I know you are not going to let this destroy you, because that is not the example you want to set for your child.
Yeah.
You're not going to allow your son to say, well, where go to boy? Somebody mash up my father, no. So Papa Rowley boy, get ready. The ride is going to be rough, rough. And here what happening, I go be in the sidelines, skinning my teeth, laughing my belly full, because I have my own files to bust. All you know me, right?
Well, you know, I can tell you one thing.
Wait.
His job, and that of I've seen this government, it's always try to destroy, discredit, disgrace, bring down, character assassinate.
Yes, yes.
That is what they do. Even right now in this Tobago election, every advertisement done by the PNM, it's about the other side. Destroy, discredit, character assassinate. That is how you don't try to develop a country or win an election or win hearts and minds by destroying others. My style is going to be one that is going to try to build, be productive, unite. Keith Rowley's style is something totally different. So yes, we will have a difference, but what he is doing is it is dividing the country, it is destroying the country. All that he had to do is that if he didn't want Gary Griffith because I was too good looking,
don't vote for you.
Yeah, do not vote, or even speak to me and say, look, I have a change of plan because there's a caucus in the PNM, they don't like you.
Right.
I have some rogue police officers getting upset with me for you being there. No, but instead, you put your little boys, your minion ministers, to try to discredit me, character assassinate me, leak information to irritate the spokesperson for the government, send things to the PSC. That is classless. It is nasty. You feel that your job, because somebody has a difference of opinion, you must try to destroy that individual. Keith Rowley, you picked the wrong one to pick a fight with.
Anyway, here what happening. For those of you who are watching right now, you know that there's this project that is ongoing right now. It's the hospital that we are doing. And of course, as most of you may be aware, this project is being funded through community effort. A large portion of it is being done through something called Sadqatul Jariyah from the Muslim community. So what is happening is that we are at a stage right now where we have the steel being prepared, we have the foundation being done, elevator pits being sorted out, but we have a task. And this is the telethon here, take a look, right? 2 million in 2 weeks. Impossible. I have raised 7 million in 1 week. 7 million in 1 week. So IBN on Sunday, tell your family, your friends, your neighbors, everybody, our goal is to raise 2 million in 2 weeks, but the telethon is on Sunday at 1 p.m. on IBN TV. Right? Because this is to take us to the next level and for us to continue where we are going. Now look at past and see the amount of work that is being done. So I will try to have this flyer out and all over. So get your money ready, because all you know me, when we say we're doing something, we're doing it. I would again like to thank former Commissioner here, Gary Griffith, for taking time to be with us. It was indeed a pleasure. And of course, for those of you who stayed with us, like I said before, this is all about trying to make a difference and building our country. And it starts not just only with Gary and myself, but you as well. I mean, there are so many things going wrong and people sit down and do nothing. It's about time people start to raise their voices, because if we continue down the road we're going, this country is dead. All right, so take care. I'll catch you next week for Breaking Barriers. There's a repeat of this program on Saturday at 9 p.m. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. So on behalf of all of us, Assalamu alaikum and good evening.